Hello everyone, welcome back to Gaming Droid and welcome back to modern Skyblock 3. So, I did a little bit of research and I found that scrap is produced in the recycler regardless of what you put into it. It doesn't matter whether you put in stone or you put in archaic brick, it doesn't matter, it's exactly the same chance all the time. So what I've done is made myself a compact cobblestone generator. Really easy to make. We look at the cobblestone generator, it requires these unfamiliar items, but the funny thing is, even though it requires unfamiliar items, and this is technically something I shouldn't be able to make, I can shift click them in. So I can actually put these items into a crafting table and actually make this, regardless of whether I'm actually in that phase or not. So I upgraded it to a compact one. It is now outputting enough stone to keep this one running permanently, and this one running on and off with 4 overclocker upgrades in each. So thanks to that, we're producing a lot of scrap, and I made a analog crafter that's pulling the scrap into here and then outputting the scrap boxes back to here, which means that we can use these to make a lot of UU matter quite easily. As you can see, that makes plenty of UU matter. It's 2 stacks and a bit of UU matter from that. As to UU matter itself, UU matter can be used to make wood, stone, snow, grass, obsidian, glass, cocoa beans, glowstone, cactus, sugarcane, vines, snowballs, clay, lily pads, gunpowder, bones, feathers, iron, ender pearls, gold. Redstone is one of the good ones, like redstone for 4 of these. That's a really easy way to just rack up some redstone. Now, the other thing I've been doing in the meantime is I've been making plates in here. Compressed tin as well as other things. I've also got another one making compressed iron. Because we do want to continue work on our Galacticraft. Now, the other thing we need to do to progress is in Reborn Technologies, we need to get a powered from plasma. We need to get nuclear fusion up and running. To get that, we need 25 fusion coils. Now, I've had a look into this, and the recipe for these things is ridiculous. So, nickel chrome heating coils isn't too bad. It's nickel ingots and chrome ingots. That's pretty cheap. These guys we've already made. It's an iridium alloy plate, which requires iridium alloy, which isn't too hard to make. A little bit nasty. An iridium neutronium reflector requires thick neutronium reflectors, which requires beryllium cells, and neutronium reflectors, which requires coal, tin, and copper. Again, not too bad. The main issue there is the beryllium cells. Those require us to set up an industrial electrolyzer and feed it with empty cells, aluminium dust, compressed air, silicon, and beryllium cells. Oh no, sorry. Feed it with emerald dust and empty cells, or enderpearl dust and empty cells, to give us these ingredients, which include nitrogen, potassium chloride, and beryllium. So we need to feed it with empty cells and ender pearls, which isn't too bad. The recipe for this is just extractors and then some plating and some circuit boards. That's not too bad. The superconductor requires 60k helium coolant cells, which requires helium cells, which we can get from the industrial centrifuge using glowstone or using endstone dust. And then the advanced alloy plates require data control boards or elite circuits. The data control boards require data storage boards, which require emerald plates. To be honest, I personally think probably the elite circuits are easier to get hold of. It then requires highly advanced machine frames, which require advanced machine frames, which require basic machine frames. So this, and we need, and this gets us 1. And bear in mind, we need 25 of these things. We need to make 25 of these things, as well as a fusion control computer, which requires, so we need to make 26 of those things to get this done. That's a lot of just material grinding and crafting. I mean, we should be able to make some of these things. That requires a rolling machine. So to make a rolling machine, we need a basic machine frame. There we go. So we've got a rolling machine. We can start making nickel chrome heating coils. So chrome and nickel. Chrome in the center and nickel around the outside, and that should start making us those. That's fine. We're going to need, what, 52 of them? So we're going to need... Let's just make 64 of them. Because, you know... it's going to be necessary in the end, I'm sure. So that's going to make those. In the meantime, chicken-wise, we've been progressing up the chickens. We've got quite a few chickens. We're currently working on the silver chicken in here, which we have managed to get hold of, which is great. That's excellent. So we now have a silver chicken. So the next chicken we want after the silver chicken is the redstonia chicken. Redstonia chicken. Let's just look up chicken. So red chicken and redstonia crystal. We want redstone and black quartz. So we've got redstone chickens, which are these guys. And then we have black quartz chickens as well. That's a string chicken, a lead chicken. There's a black quartz chicken. Excellent. Do we have any seeds? We have spare seeds in that one, so that's fine. I can set up a few more ones to go. So after the redstonia, we want steel. And the steel chicken's probably a coal and an iron. Yeah. So it does make sense, the breeding you have to do. Let's grab an iron chicken and a coal chicken. And this does get us a few extra chickens as well. And apart from the steel chicken, the one after that is a malachite chicken, which is copper, I believe. Is malachite copper? No, malachite's kind of gem, apparently, which requires a coal chicken and a copper chicken. So we can't do that one yet. So yeah, it is related to copper. The leather chicken. Leather chicken. Let's see, what do we need for a leather chicken? We need cocoa brown and string. So if we grab a cocoa brown chicken and we grab a string chicken, not a spring chicken, you understand, but a string chicken. So string and cocoa brown, that should give us a leather chicken. So that's Tech Reborn started, that's chicken started. So to space and beyond. We need to make a satellite, and we need to make a NASA workbench, and we need to make stocking up on oxygen. So satellite requires us to make a basic satellite. Basic satellites are reasonably easy. I think we've got everything we need for that. The basic satellite is, we need 24 solar panels and 6 basic satellite plates. Okay, so the NASA workbench is one of the other things we need to make. The NASA workbench is where we're going to be building our rockets, and it's where we also put our rocket plans so that we can build the next stage of rocket. Now, what we need is compressed steel, levers, advanced wafer, crafting table, and redstone torch. We should have everything apart from the crafting table. That's not too bad. Now, you don't need any power for this guy, and he does look rather cool. He needs a 3x3x3. So if we pop him down, he needs a 3x3x3. You can see that he is 3 wide that way and 3 wide that way and 3 tall. So he does need, was he 4 tall now? Ooh, I think he might be 4 tall now. Yep, so he does need a lot of space to run, but we can make satellite rockets, we can add new schematics, and we can make tier 1 rockets. Tier 1 rockets are the ones we would use to get to the moon, which is where we'd find meteorite iron and also schematics for other things. To launch a satellite in space, you're going to need a satellite rocket. You're going to need a 3x3 launch pad to place it on and a fuel loader to fill it with fuel. So the launch pad should be quite easy. We need just a rocket launch pad, I believe. Yeah, we don't need like tier 2 or tier 3 launch pads. So it's just blocks of iron and compressed iron. There we go. We need a fuel loader to give fuel loader give it fuel. We don't need the advanced or the ultimate. We just need a basic fuel loader, which is tin canisters, basic wafers, and compressed tin and copper. That's fine. And then we need a satellite rocket. So the satellite rocket requires a whole bunch of heavy-duty plates, 4 rocket fins, a nose cone, and a tier 1 rocket engine. So let's have a look. The rocket plates require compressed steel and heavy-duty plates. We don't have any heavy-duty plates at the moment. This requires redstone heavy-duty plates, and this guy requires canister, heavy-duty plates, flint and steel, and a button. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to make a bunch of heavy-duty plates, which is bronze, aluminium, and steel. So compressed bronze, compressed aluminium, and compressed steel. Which we're going to need more aluminium and more steel. So there's some aluminium. Let's get that compressing up, and then we need to think about making steel. Steel dust. Can't make nuclear craft steel. Magnetic craft steel. We need the magnetic craft dust for. I believe. So we've got Tech Reborn steel. Tech Reborn steel can be made in the industrial blast furnace. Okay. So it's just seconds EU heat. That requires steel dust. Iron and coal. That's two coal and 1 iron. And then we can also make mechanism. Steel, which is, I believe, steel dust, which is enriched iron, which is, I think that's also 2 coal. 2 coal to 1 iron. Let's take you and the iron. And coal. We need 2 coal, and we need the infusing factory. Hopefully that will make us steel. And then we can also start getting some bronze, some of these plates done. So we need steel and we need bronze, and that will make us this will make us heavy duty plates. Now for the satellite rocket, how many heavy duty plates do we need? We need 3, 4, 8, 16, so 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23, 24, 25, 26 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 by 7 is 21. So 23 plus 21 is 44. So 44, I believe. Okay, so we've got enough advanced wafers using the redstone repeaters in there. And what we can do is we can finish this off. No, actually we don't. We need 6 of them, not 3 of them. I'm a twit. Okay, well, we'll slowly get enough then. And 1 more circuit board, we'll be able to do that. We're making bronze. I think we've got enough plates now. We're going to need a lot more plates for our own rocket and things, but we should be able, if we go to satellite rocket. So what we need is we need a nose cone, which is easy enough. We need fins, which again are easy enough if we have the compressed steel. We need 8 compressed steel. One, 2, 3, and 4. And then we need to make the engine. The engine is, although it looks reasonably complicated, quite easy. Flint and steel's fine, button is fine. Copper or tin casing is just those. This oxygen plate is just tin and compressed steel. I've had to actually make a bunch of those for the space suit that I'll sort of look at later. Got 7,000 stone on us at the moment. There's our button. And here's the satellite engine. And now, if we get our compressed plates, oh no, heavy duty. Grab our heavy duty plates out of here. There's our 21 heavy duty plates. And we go over to our NASA workbench. We should be able to build ourselves a satellite rocket. So we need a nose cone, an engine, some fins for stability, and then we need to put in all of... I am one plate short. And it gives me all the materials back once it's finished. Fair enough. There's our plates that we need. And some bronze. And I also need a chest as well, which is part of the recipe. Now we can't shift click these recipes in, unfortunately, but that's fine. Now the chest would normally give us some kind of storage, but I think we need a chest on this one so that it can carry a rocket. Yeah. Storage space is 18. And there we go. Launch satellites into space. To launch satellites into space, you're going to need a rocket, fuel loader to fill it up with fuel. Excellent. You're now going to need a satellite controller to collect data from your satellites. Once it's finished collecting data, you'll get a research paper which you can use in a telescope to discover planets. So this is a kind of more advanced thing than it was in 1.10 and 1.7. Galacticraft didn't really have the planet discovery element. Satellite controller, which requires 2 basic satellites to build. What? That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. So we're going to have to make another... What? Wow, Galacticraft is not cheap. They have really ramped up the cost. So we're going to have to make another 2 satellites. So that means another 48 of these and another 12 of these. Wow. Okay. See, this is the point. This is the point where the loot for making a satellite should be another satellite, in my opinion. So we now have a satellite rocket, which we can hold, which is absolutely massive. Crikey, look at that thing. That is a big old satellite. And we have a basic satellite itself, which we hold by the bottom, apparently. So we have a basic satellite itself. But before we can actually get any use out of our satellites, we're going to have to build another 2 to get the satellite controller. That's quite crazy. Before we can get any use out of this, we're going to have to build another 2 to get the satellite controller. It also wants us to make oxygen gear, oxygen mask, heavy-duty oxygen tank, and the Tier 1 spacesuit. So it wants us to make oxygen mask, which is easy enough. It's an iron helmet and some plate glass, which we can make very nice and easily. So there's the oxygen mask. It wants us to make this, which is an oxygen canister and some piping, which is just that. Not a problem. And it wants us to make a heavy-duty oxygen tank. I think it wants us to make the white one of these, heavy oxygen tank. Yeah, I think it wants us to make... Yeah, it looks like the grey one. So, could be the white one. Compressed steel, tin canisters, white wool. Not difficult. Compressed steel we don't have because it's all in here making heavy duty plates. And we've used it all up. So let's use this to make a little bit more compressed steel. Yeah, this is going to get a little bit expensive in the long run. Just because of the sheer amount of compressing we have to do. I'm going to have to do a lot of this off screen, I think. Just because it's going to be hours worth of compressing. Hours worth of just compressing and compressing and compressing. And then it wants us to make the Tier 1 spacesuit. Now, I've made tier 1 armor layers and tier 1 radiation layers already. I've also made, I think I've made the tier 1 pressure layers. I didn't make the tier 1 pressure layers as I just prepped for it. So, tier 1 spacesuit, we require the tier 1 unprepared spacesuit of each level, which is just made out of aluminium casing or aluminium shapes. Not difficult to make. And then we need to put on a radiation layer, a pressure layer, and armor layers. So there's the tier 1 helmet, tier 1 chest plate, and then we are out of the pressure layers because we don't have any more of those. So we need these guys, and what we're missing compressed steel. I need a lot of steel. So is there a steel dust? There is no steel alchemical dust. Now there is steel chickens. There's my leather chicken, good. There's a steel chicken, good. So if I just put in a steel chicken and a coal chicken. If I just put in a steel chicken and a string chicken, that's fine. The steel chicken will breed, and I might actually set the steel chicken up as a kind of like background manufacturing of steel. Because we're going to need a lot of steel. Speaking of needing a lot of steel. Stack of iron. Coal. 1, 2. And let's get some steel on cooking again. So we're going to need a lot of steel. So 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6, and then we need to make these guys, and then tier 1, and we need to make a pair of pants and a pair of shoes. So there is our complete set of oxygen gear. Before going into space, you're going to need the correct gear. It includes oxygen mask, tank, and the actual spacesuit to fill your tank. You're going to need an oxygen compressor to collect oxygen for it. You're going to need an oxygen collector. So that's the next thing it wants us to do. It wants us to get on with an oxygen compressor and collector. And like it makes sense. Like we need lots and lots of oxygen collector, so we need lots and lots of things to go into space, which is fine. Like I agree that going into space should not be an easy thing. In fact, if anything, I quite like the fact that this mod makes you work for your space travel. I remember Galacticraft used to be a little bit on the easy side. Just for kind of like, oh, I can get in space now. And it wasn't really that challenging. But they've definitely ramped it up. I don't know if that's this mod specifically or... There's our oxygen collector, and then we need an oxygen compressor, which is actually a slightly easier recipe, which I suppose makes sense. Like the oxygen collector recipe, oxygen compressor recipe is basically just a pressure tank. There we go. So we have an oxygen collector and an oxygen compressor. Now, the question is, and this is an important question to me. Can it just collect oxygen from an environment where I can breathe? Because if it can just collect oxygen from an environment where I can breathe, then what I might do is I might set up the oxygen collector and compressor in the pocket dimension. So yeah, it can just collect oxygen from any environment where I can breathe. So the next question then becomes, can it collect oxygen from the pocket dimension? So let's get a vibrant capacitor. Let's pop you down there and fill you up. That will do for now. And then we should have in here a spectral key, which we don't have, so key. There's our spectre key. So the question then becomes, if I go to my pocket dimension, which I haven't really used very much, and I set up the oxygen collection in the pocket dimension, does that mean I can have oxygen collection when I'm on another planet without really being worried? Ooh, this looks really weird with night vision on. If I take off the helmet and get rid of the night vision, let's see what happens then. And then the oxygen, nope, that's the fuel loader. The oxygen collector goes here. And then we put the power cables around the outside. Yeah, that's definitely the night vision, because the night vision will wear off. And then the night vision will get kicked back in again because I'm carrying something that gives me night vision. Yeah, that's what it looks like without night vision. With night vision, it looks kind of freaky, but okay. Now we have to give it RF, which is easy enough. Yep, that provides oxygen in this environment. So if I'm on the moon, and I need oxygen, I can have an oxygen setup in here. I can have, I don't know, a thermoelectric generator in here just generating a little bit of power. Nothing doesn't have to be particularly dramatic. These things don't use a lot of power. In fact, when this is full and this is full, we'll actually see how much power they are using. Looking like it's going to be less than 24 UI a tick. 15 UI a tick. That's not dramatic. I mean, 15, 14 UI a tick. That's not dramatic in the slightest. Now the question is, if this is full, does it stop using power completely? Because if it stops using power completely, that's great. Goes down to 1 UI a tick. Okay, so yeah, a single thermoelectric generator would run this system, and that would mean that in space I could just hop backwards and forwards using my interdimensional key and fill myself up oxygen tanks from that location. So I don't have to worry about taking like leaf blocks and all the other stuff you need to take into space to run how do I power up my spacesuit? I think I need a spacesuit charger. Okay. So there's the oxygen gear. We'll throw on an oxygen tank. We haven't got a parachute. We haven't got a radar, etc., but that's fine. So the next thing is setting up this satellite control on this telescope, and the satellite control is going to require 24 of those plates and lots of other things. So that's going to be a job of just making... We don't need any more heavy-duty plates at the moment. What we need is we need steel plate and we need aluminium plate and we need these guys. So let's get those guys on running again. We're also going to need a bunch of advanced plating, which is going to require redstone repeaters. Now, because we have UU matter and we're generating a decent amount of UU matter as well, we're like generating extra UU matter, we don't have to worry too much about the cost in so far as like how much UU matter we're using, things like that. Because we can always, how much redstone we're using, because we can always use our UU matter to generate additional redstone. Additional redstone, glowstone, iron, gold, etc. I mean, we're not going to have to worry about iron or gold because we've got these guys up here. And actually, before we call the episode, I have these two guys and I've set them up with gold and iron alchemical dust. So once they're done with their uranium, they'll be moving straight on to gold and iron as well. So we've got quite a lot of that running or ready to run. UU matter wise, I think we've got a decent amount. We've got 400 UU matter. That's enough for 100 times 24, so 2,400 redstone. That's not bad. And this thing's just basically going to consistently be producing scrap boxes for us because of the compact cobblestone machine. Now I could upgrade that and it would produce scrap faster. I could upgrade it to a dense one, which means I'd need to make 7 of the compact ones, which means I'd need to make 7 times 7 of the 7 times 8 of the non-compact ones, which is 56. So I'd need 56 times 4. 224 plates and 200 and 100. So we've got plenty of those plates. We've got 2,900. So yeah, I could actually upgrade that to the next level, and both of these would be running permanently instead of this one sort of having breaks and this one not. But that I will do in between. I'm going to be making a lot of steel, and I'm also going to be looking into replicating my steel chicken. Sooner or later the steel chicken will actually successfully breed, and then we'll breed up some more steel chickens. Bred from an iron chicken and a coal chicken. Maybe if I breed it with an iron chicken, it will be more likely to give me steel chickens, because they are, I think, probably more compatible. Because what I can do is I have 25 of these roosts, and I can actually put chickens into these and they will produce resources for me. I'm pretty sure I can just do... Pretty sure I can just do this. And then chickens will give us stuff. So let's have a look what chickens we have that we can put in. Nether quartz chickens, log chickens, bone chickens, iron chickens. Now, they do drop the stuff if they're just out in the world. They don't have to be in nesting pens, because we've got some nether quartz chickens over there that are just producing us nether quartz. So I might also be tempted to set up some of this setup, because these guys will just sit in there and sit on a hopper just creating resources for us. But what we can do is we can... do that, and then these guys will slowly tick up and they will produce us redstone. Now, I don't know if it's actually more productive to have them outside of the pens. It might be more productive to have them outside of the pens. We don't need black quartz. We're not worried about sand, iron, bone meal, gunpowder. Might be worth having some soul sand cooking up. We don't really... Actually, coal... Let's put our 2 coal chickens in, generating us some coal. Osmium chickens, tanzanite chickens, copper chickens, topaz chickens, mana steel chickens, glowstone chicken. We will stick the glowstone chicken in there for now. We do want to like breed up the chickens as well, but so breed up additional glowstone chickens and things like that. But for now, we'll just pop him in there. Yeah, I mean, we're not in a bad state. We'll be producing a slow supply. So where are you? You're halfway through. And now I just need to make myself 2 more of these so that I can... so that I can make the satellite controller. And once I make the satellite... So we've got some chickens up and running. These chickens will slowly be producing us redstone, coal, and glowstone. I'm breeding up a steel chicken. Now what I could do is I could put some chickens loose over here, like they are over here, sitting on a hopper, and they just generate us resources. That is something I'm definitely going to be thinking of doing, because it's pretty effective, really, as a way to generate resources. What I need to do is I need to make a bunch of these, a bunch of advanced circuits. I also need to make a bunch of steel plating, because I'm going to need to make 2 more satellites so we can make the satellite controller on the telescope, and that's where we kind of are stuck now. We need steel, we need the satellite controller, we need the telescope so that we can advance through Galacticraft. In the meantime, I'm going to be looking at making lots of chrome and things like that from Tech Reborn, because we need to make 26 of these guys, which means we need beryllium, which means we're going to need an industrial electrolyzer, which is extractor, steel plate, and some circuits. So we'll get this done in between episodes, and when we come back, I'll look at making ourselves a fusion generator from Tech Reborn, and we'll also be looking at making ourselves a satellite control bay and telescope. So, thank you all for watching. I have been the Gaming Droid. This has been Modern Skyblock 3. We are currently working towards all sorts of interesting chickens and other things, and I will see you all in another stream, or in another episode. Bye-bye, everybody.